So I want to tell you how I know that I officially became the old guy.
The old guy?
The old man.
Hardly.
No, this is true. So we touched on this last week. I was up at Lake Tahoe with a group of friends. And whenever I say I'm hanging out with somebody in 2020 or 2021, I have this need to say, and we all took COVID tests and everybody was negative.
Right.
2 people took rapid tests and they looked like pregnancy tests. So we thought that there were some people who were expecting, which we were really excited about, but it turns out they were just negative tests.
That's great.
We also had a couple, one of them had tested positive 14 days earlier. The other one had tested negative and they removed themselves. So I just want everybody to understand that this is a very responsible group of people who otherwise are very irresponsible.
And it's not a group of 50 people.
No.
It's not a giant group that has
Heavens,
traveled
no.
long distances.
And the majority of this group has hung out exclusively during COVID.
And aren't most of you still working from home?
Everybody is.
Yeah, okay.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
So again, I just wanted to preempt that by saying everybody took tests, everybody tested negative. We were on the California side of Tahoe. There was nowhere for us to go. Okay?
What do you mean there was nowhere for you to go?
We couldn't go anywhere. We just sat in the house.
Oh, because there was so much snow?
There was no restaurants. There was no bars. Everything was closed.
Okay.
There was nowhere for us to go. Have I explained that enough to where people will not judge me?
Well, I don't know. You could still get some hate mail. I mean, what do I know?
You can send hate mail to @DebZener on Instagram. So I just want everybody to know safety first. So after we did the safe stuff, we just decided to ruin our bodies, right? Because it was a friend's kind of get after it birthday weekend. And the funny thing about these weekends are typically they don't sneak up on you because you're going out, hanging out, having a good time. Nobody had done anything for months and months and months and months and months. And this has been an annual event for a bunch of people. And they extended it a little bit because they knew everybody would enjoy it. And so the first night, everybody says, you don't go hard the first night. Be patient.
And how many nights total do we have?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Be patient. Pace yourself. And of course, nobody listens to that. Everybody sees each other and we turned into kindergartners and we're like, this is great. And we can drink alcohol. This is the best thing in the world. So I'll say this. I did not get to the levels of intoxicated that other people got. Not even close. My downfall was that at 11 o'clock at night, which usually I am knocked out in bed, I took a all natural energy drink that I had never had before. And I think it was like that scene from Pulp Fiction where they stab Uma Thurman in the heart with adrenaline. This thing had me wide-eyed and bloodshot-eyed until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, no.
But again, to emphasize how not crazy this was for me, my night ended. I was one of the last people up because I took the adrenaline needle up to the chest. My night ended on sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce style, with a Korean face mask on. So I was doing maintenance.
Oh, you were being productive.
Health and beauty because I couldn't actually fall asleep.
Oh, no.
Eventually,
were you the last one up?
There was 4 of us.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, I fell asleep.
Wait. Did you all have Korean face masks on?
Of course we did.
Okay, I love it.
It's a group thing.
Love it. Okay.
So eventually I fall asleep. I mean, quote unquote, fall asleep as asleep as you can be with adrenaline coursing through your veins. And I probably only got 4 hours of sleep. Again, sleep is a loose term. So everybody, for whatever reason, all the people who were destroyed, myself who got barely any sleep, were all up by 8 o'clock the next morning. Awful. And I think it was just this belief that, okay, if we wake up and we see each other, we're going to be really excited to keep this thing going, right? Well, we made bacon and we made eggs and we made hash browns, I think, or tater tots, and we had bagels and all this stuff. And really, it was just Night of the Living Dead. We were just all zombies.
Well, didn't that put you right back to sleep almost?
Pretty much.
Did everybody take a nap?
So you know me, I don't nap.
Right.
I am a 0 nap guy. I took a solid 3-hour nap.
Oh my goodness.
Rock solid 3-hour nap. And on top of that, I still played games. I won most of them. Thank you. And I was still absolutely a part of the day, but everybody was just ruined from the night before because we did the one thing you weren't
You're
supposed
not
to do.
supposed to go hard the first night.
So I was probably in bed by 10, which is
night number 2.
Yeah, which is the symptom of my old manness. Okay. I was in bed at 10. I could hear other people still like out and about in the living room playing games. I was like, good for them. That's not me right now. I was probably asleep at 11. I woke up the next morning at 7 o'clock.
Oh.
Felt great.
Was it a good night's sleep?
Amazing night's sleep. So on a friend's weekend where the theme is partying, I was in bed by 10, asleep by 11, and the first one up at 7. This is how I know I'm officially the old man. I got up and I thought, oh, everybody else is going to be up. This will be fun, but we'll have energy this time. I get up, just me.
It's like, do you make coffee or anything?
I go take a shower. I put on some PJs. I walk downstairs. Nobody around. I start brewing some coffee. Nobody rises. The hot tub had been broken. They fixed the hot tub. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to go have a nice little morning to myself. I take my cup of coffee outside. I open up the hot tub. I sit in there. It's surrounded by these snow-covered trees because it was just, pummeled with a blizzard a couple days before. I have my coffee in my hand. I take my iPhone out. I just start playing some morning jazz. I am happy. The oldest human being on the planet at this moment, and I could not have been happier. I got out of the hot tub, went and got more coffee, nobody awake.
Still.
I come back out, sit in the hot tub for 2 hours before I see the first person.
You were in a hot tub for 2 hours?
It wasn't a super duper hot tub, but it
wasn't hot.
It was like 103.
Oh, okay.
So it was very manageable.
Yeah.
And I was coming in and out. I was listening to jazz all morning, drinking coffee in a hot tub, first one awake by myself. And I just started chuckling in my head. And I thought, all right, man, you did it. You're officially the old guy.
Completely satisfied.
And then I proceeded to cook breakfast for everybody.
The only thing that would have made it better is if you would have had binoculars sitting on the edge of the hot tub so you could have bird watched while you were listening to jazz with your coffee in the hot tub.
I did the millennial version of that. I had my cell phone out and was just taking cool boomerangs and landscape portrait photos. So it was my generation's version of that.
Good.
But it was great. I absolutely loved it. I thought to myself, what a treat for you to take this weekend and just spend some alone time in a house of, a dozen other people or something like that.
So you cooked, what did you have for breakfast for everybody?
I did the shingle bacon. So 2 cookie sheets of bacon in the oven. We had they looked like McDonald's style hash browns.
Okay. Oh, so, no, really they were you bought them like that?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So we put those in the oven as well. I made eggs. We got the coffee going, and then other people could toast bread and bagels and cream cheese and all that kind of stuff.
Perfect.
And it was just a nice casual Sunday for me.
So they all felt like when they got up, hey, thanks, Grandpa. You made breakfast for us.
You're the best dad ever. Thanks so much,
Yay.
Dad, for coming on this kids trip.
Yeah, he may never get married. He may never have his own children, but he'll always play with those that are much younger.
It was such a surreal, sobering, and I mean that multiple ways, moment for me to just say, you've been on these trips before, and you know me. I'm not an early riser.
Right.
And I'm certainly not an early riser on these trips, but I was the guy who was up for 2 straight hours before I saw another living soul just treating myself to some Java and some warm water and boomerangs of nature.
They're still foolish young idiots.
That I hang out with.
That you hang out with.
That I choose to call my friends.
Yes.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Across from me on this Super Bowl Sunday is the MVP of our family. It's my mom, Deb.
Oh, Kev, that's so nice.
And I'm the water boy to her Tom Brady. I'm her son, Kev, and this is our podcast. On today's show, in Deb's business segment, she's going to talk about asking questions in sales. Here's a question for you. What does that mean? I don't know, but we're going to find out together. We are back with more hard-hitting questions as well in the Dear Deb segment. Again, these questions are not asked to us, but we will in fact answer them. And we will end the show with a super duper fantastic next level thankfuls. And we will let you know what not Super Bowl themed dish we are having for dinner. But first, before our normal so this is a but first.
Okay.
You know me. I'm a massive New England Patriots fan.
Yes.
My friend.
In fact, I love the Tom Brady comparison. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Because you know how meaningful that is.
I do.
My friend Parker, who listens to this podcast, is also a massive New England Patriots fan. Anybody who follows sports knows that Tom Brady no longer plays for the New England Patriots. He is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. He now plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are playing in the Super Bowl. So tell me if I am trying to manipulate my brain or if this is just another symptom of me being an adult.
Okay.
Tom Brady played in 9 Super Bowls for the New England Patriots. He won 6 of them. He has played 1 season in Tampa Bay. He is now playing in a Super Bowl for them as we speak. I have no ill will towards Tom Brady whatsoever. There is a piece of me that says, aren't we so fortunate that we had this guy for so long who is arguably the greatest quarterback ever to play his position, and now another team gets to benefit from all the hard work he did from us.
Is that really how you're thinking
I
about
honestly think that's how I feel about it.
You don't want to take a bat to Bill Belichick?
No.
Like you're really being grown up and mature
I'm
about
sitting here being like, what else can you ask for as a fan, let alone a football fan, except 2 decades of unprecedented success? And if the team didn't want him back, okay, questionable. But if he's going to go somewhere, to a town, to a team that doesn't have nearly as much success under their belt, and he's going to bring them that type of success in the first year, I feel really comfortable being like the adult in the room and saying, good for you. I hope you guys enjoy him as much as we did, because what he did for us will always be etched in stone.
So let me just test the adult thing a little
Okay,
bit.
sure.
Are you cheering for Tampa Bay today?
I'm not cheering for anybody. I don't care who wins.
So would you cheer for Tampa Bay if they were playing against the Patriots?
I won't cheer for Tampa Bay ever, because that's not my purpose is I don't have a dog in this fight because he's not on my team anymore. But what I'm saying is I feel like I spent 18, 19 years, I didn't do any of this, but I feel like I spent 18, 19 years making this citizen of the world. And now he gets unleashed onto the world, and he's a great reflection of me.
Yeah.
And he's doing all the things we wanted him to do under our roof for somebody else immediately. And that's all I can ask for.
Well, I think that's incredibly mature.
Thank
if
you.
You're still a Patriots fan, and if you would if you met a Buccaneers fan that was a diehard Buccaneers fan and just said, oh my God, I love Tom Brady, could you hug him and say me too?
I would walk up to him and say, you're welcome.
There you go.
Happy to have helped.
Very mature. Very mature.
Okay, so that was the Deb and Kev sports segment. It's been a while since we've seen that. While I was gone last weekend, you channeled your inner Marie Kondo. Do you know who that is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You channeled her to the likes of which does not happen outside of this side of the podcast. And you organized the hell out of the most chaotic drawers in our kitchen.
The pantry part.
And let me say this, as someone who thoroughly enjoys organization, I know that nobody cares about the organization as much as the person who just organized it. And when I came home, I think you tried to corner me no less than 5 times about the intricacies of the organization in that pantry, because you know it was something to be admired. It was an achievement.
Yes.
And I know in my head, I'm like, she wants you to be as excited as she is, but it's impossible.
It took a while.
You have never been that organized. You must have been bored out of your mind.
So I have been that organized at times.
When?
No, I have. But those had just gotten out of control.
And I'm not saying you're not organized. I'm just saying that is organization, the likes of which Marie Kondo would walk in here and say, do you want to teach class alongside me?
Yeah, she would be very happy. We had a bunch, and this is always such a dilemma for me. we had a bunch of expired food, and I knew we weren't going to eat it, but it still pains me to throw it out.
Sure.
And so, and you can't really donate it. I mean, you can't donate expired food. I mean, that seems wrong.
Which is outrageous. I think you should.
Anyways, so I cleaned out first just all the expired food, which, ta-da, it left tons of room.
So much room.
So much room. And so then we have those containers with the white lid that you push it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they're air concealing containers, but like they clearly aren't, but they feel like they are.
All different sizes.
Yeah.
And so long pasta in one, rotini in another, fusilli in another, jasmine rice, brown rice. It just goes legumes, on and on and on.
And if you think she stopped at just putting things in those containers, no. She got out the labeler, and everything is now properly labeled to where if we run out of fusilli, we're not putting kidney beans in there.
No.
That's the fusilli container.
Yes.
Gluten-free, mind you.
Yes. So everything is organized. Now I'll do the next one where some of the bakery stuff is.
Which will be much harder.
Yeah, that'll be a whole different deal. And I think I have to get one more box of those containers. But no, I'm super excited. It looks great. You can find everything. Nothing is hidden away. We don't need to wonder if we have it or if we don't. So
I at the beginning of quarantine, I kind of took over the junk drawer and the side drawer next to it, right?
You did a great job.
I love a junk drawer. I love that there's just a miscellaneous drawer that exists in the kitchen of all places for non-kitchen items to exist, right? And I think we've talked about this. Nowhere in the world does somebody need as many batteries as a junk drawer holds, but they exist there, and they're like the AA's, the AAA's, those weird square batteries that look like they
9-volt.
Yeah, power a nuclear plant or something like that. But they all exist in there, and there's menus from restaurants that have been defunct for 12 years, but we're just holding on to them for some reason. And there's rubber bands that if you pull even an inch, they snap. But we keep all of that stuff, right? So
there's keys from I don't know where.
The amount of keys, we should be able to unlock every door in the world.
I agree.
And we have the old disposable camera in there. Like, what? That's been 20 years. What could possibly even be on that?
There's got to be pictures on it, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe I should take it to Costco and see.
But again, everything that exists in a junk drawer. So I took it upon myself to organize that, and I don't know why I thought that needed organization, but I did it. And it was just okay, no one's going to do this unless you do this, so go do this. What was your impetus? Just, this has just gotten insane? Or were you just bored out of your gourd?
No, well, I was alone at the house for, I think it was all day Saturday.
Got it.
I think Dad went and golfed or something. And so the impetus was getting the expired food out. That's what the impetus was.
How much if we look at all of the food that existed in there as 100%, how much of it was expired food? And this isn't like rotten stuff. This isn't like things with mold on it. It's just dry
really
goods.
Bad, yeah. 10%,
okay.
12%.
Not terrible.
15 maybe?
Are we thinking 25?
I don't know.
Upwards of 40?
We filled a big box. But I also did, where we have the canned food underneath?
Underneath the island, yep.
Yep. I cleaned that out too, of expired food.
Got it.
And I went out to the garage to see if there was anything out there. And there were a couple of things. So all of the expired food pretty much left the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was the expired food that was the motivation. Then we had an extra box in the garage of those wonderful containers. So I brought them all in, laid them all out, looked at what I had and went, go for it, do it.
So you have declared on the podcast that you'll clean out the other pantry to the left of it.
Yep.
At what point are you going to tackle the attic?
Oh, yeah.
That is no joke up there. That is
Yeah.
A&E's not going to come with a camera crew for hoarders. But they could if they wanted to. Because I'll tell you what gives me anxiety thinking about that.
You dying?
No, well, yeah. I mean, you could definitely die in that room and we wouldn't know. But so it's in this little crawl space. next off of the master bedroom.
It's easily avoided. It's
Oh,
not where
totally.
anybody can see anything.
You only have to pay attention to it when you're getting out luggage, which we haven't done for a year,
Which hasn't happened for a very long time.
or when we need Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. The thing that freaks me out, I'm 6'7". This space, if you were to stand up all the way, is maybe 5'5".
Yeah, I can't stand up in the middle.
The tacked in shingles from the roof,
Yeah,
the
the
nails
are coming through.
they're just
Yeah.
poking through.
Yeah.
So I'm not kidding you. The amount of times I've thought of, oh, you're just going to forget and stand up and just have a nail in your skull. I think about that way more than I should.
Yeah.
So there's just the safety element of not dying that exists
Right.
up there. But then there's also these massive clear bins, massive, full of individual pictures.
So there's more bins than you even realize.
I try to just tunnel vision on what I need in that space because my OCD starts like getting me scratchy on my body when I walk in there.
Yeah.
That and probably the loose insulation that's up there. And I just try to grab it and put my blinders on and then walk out.
Yeah.
But thinking of tackling that space, I don't even know if I could begin to start.
So every woman my age is going to know what I'm talking about.
Okay, relatable.
Okay, so if I could take let's just say that this would be easy. With a wave of the magic wand,
Mm-hmm.
I could take everything that's in there and lay it out on the back deck, meaning all the containers.
Yep.
Okay? In a perfect world, I would have you with me, and we would go through them because I would say, do you want this Christmas stuff? This was your little childhood Christmas thing. Do you want it? Do you not want it? I mean, because I kind of need you to go through some of that stuff.
Fair.
Then there's other keepsake kind of things.
Yep.
Then I want to say at least 3 of those giant clear things have your stuff in them.
Oh, don't pass the buck
Oh,
here,
no,
Deb.
they do. They do.
All
Yeah.
my stuff is in the basement.
No, you've got stuff up there too. So do we have gobs of stuff? Yes. And could a lot of it go into a shredder or a dumpster or, the Goodwill, or could somebody use it? Yes. But I just want you to look at it before it goes.
Do you see what
Women
she's doing
my
here?
age know this.
you
Women my
see-
age, you know that we want them to tell us, I don't want it before it goes.
She's trying to tell me that her inability to organize this space is somehow hinged on me. I don't know 99% of the stuff that's up there. She just said there's a couple boxes of my stuff. Okay, I'll look at those couple boxes. How about the 97 other boxes that exist up there? That has nothing to do with me.
No, I know there's a lot of stuff. You know what's really hard?
Those attics are every child's nightmare, by the way.
Well, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because if I snap my fingers and you and Dad are gone, I'm like, well, I'm just going to sell the house with all that stuff in it. And those people can just do what they want with it.
here's the terrible part. You'll never be able to move out because it'll take a lifetime for you to go
So
through all our
bad.
stuff. And when you go through somebody else's stuff, you have to look at everything
Because you're trying
because
to
you're
find,
trying to find the valuable thing.
yeah, the meaning through their
Right.
eyes. Do they care about this? I can't imagine they care about this.
Right.
But this seems like a really cool old panty liner. Maybe they do like this thing.
Panty liners?
I don't know. Is that a thing that
Yes,
women used to
don't-
wear?
No, don't say that.
This
say
is
that.
a really
Take that back.
old shoulder pads that Deb would love.
There you go. That's much better.
I don't. You need to pick up when I start drinking. When I start drinking the tea, that's when you need to start talking. That's how this works.
Okay. So I do think, I have dread for you that all that.
Then
needs
you
to
should
be-
take care of it for me.
Well, I just need you to be like my little partner in helping.
If you say,
Yeah.
here's what I will raise my hand to do,
Okay.
reluctantly.
Okay.
If you say at some point, I need you
Mm-hmm.
to bring the boxes out,
Yeah.
I'm not going through any of the boxes, but I will bring them out. I'm not going through any of them. I will do the manual labor.
But then how do I get you to say, honey, do you want this? And do you want this?
No,
and
no,
do you want
because
this?
you're going to hold up stuff like, hey, look at these old Oshkosh Bagosh. What do they
Don't
call
you
them?
want
Suspenders.
those for when you have a child?
What? Why? What? Do they not
Yes.
sell that anymore?
They do, but they're not cute and kind of worn, and they weren't yours.
See what I'm saying here?
And what about all the sweet little baby blankets people made for you that are still in perfect shape?
It's your job.
Your wife wants those.
I'm not married and
Your
I
wife
don't have a
wants
child.
those.
It's your job to hold on to that for me. I can't make that decision. You're the I know that I just said I'm an adult. I'm clearly not an adult. You're the adult. You need to make that decision for future me, because present Kevin doesn't care about any of that stuff.
You would just throw it all away.
Obviously.
Do you remember that time that you came home from college with your girlfriend and I said, I want to go through my closet, but I don't have
That was hilarious.
eyes anymore. Like
Yeah.
I can't tell if something is cute or not.
Yeah.
And I tried on all the clothes in my closet.
Yeah.
And you two screamed laughing.
The amount of polka dots that came out of that closet was unbelievable.
Anyways, see, that was so helpful because stuff that I still loved or thought I would wear again, you were like, no, please, no. I mean,
I like that you trusted a 19-year-old dumb guy to
I trusted her.
Fair.
Yeah, so it needs to be something like that, Kev. One box at a time.
I'll call my ex-college girlfriend and see if she's busy, and we'll get her over here with her husband and her kids to see if they want to help push through some of that organization.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
If that does happen, and it needs to, we will film the chaos
Yes,
of it all.
for sure.
And if there's things that we think you guys will like, hey, we'll send it to you. We don't care.
Yeah.
All right, Deborah, talk to us a little bit about what it means to ask questions in sales, as I ask you questions about asking questions in sales.
So I read this really interesting study this week, and it was talking about the people that are most proficient, like the greatest salespeople ever, the ones that do the best job. And the study was like, so, how do they do so much better, and how do they close sales? And it's normally because we put so much emphasis on the close, like that people have trouble closing. And it's true that people do have trouble closing.
Sure.
I mean, that is a real thing. They can get you right up to it.
They struggle with the ask.
The ask. But that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is, I'm going to say, kind of the relationship that you develop with the customer prior.
By the
to
way,
the close.
can I just put a pause on this? Because this is going to sit in my head until I ask this question.
Yeah.
Why are panty liners not a cool thing? Why should I have not referenced that?
Because it's a intimate
Oh, okay.
thing.
Sorry.
It's in the tampon aisle.
Oh God, sorry.
Okay.
I think I meant pantyhose. Is that what I meant?
Pantyhose.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry to everybody out there. I clearly made a big mental goof that resonated with women in a really weird way. And I was like, why was she so hell-bent on me not saying that? That she wore them. And I didn't realize that I was referencing something else.
Yeah.
Pantyhose.
Pantyhose is
not
not a panty line.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Hijacked the business segment with a stupid male question. Let's continue.
Okay. Yeah, we need to find you a wife.
Back
pretty
on the
soon.
tracks.
Back
on the tracks of professionalism.
Okay, so what we're talking about is the relationship that you're developing, right? Before, I'm going to say
With the
before
potential
close.
client.
With the potential client.
Got it.
So what they found is that salespeople who asked questions rather than told about the product, right, did way better than people that didn't.
Okay.
And so part of it was the getting to know you.
Yep.
Part of it was the customer really feeling like that person cared about their selection or their service or whatever is being offered, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Part of it has a little concierge element to it, meaning like you're offering me this or that. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And so now I'm choosing in the process, if you will. And then a big part of it is just that the engagement is different when you ask questions. Now,
You know what this sounds like to me?
what?
Sounds like dating.
Oh, well, it kind of is a little
Sounds
bit.
exactly
Take
like
us to a
dating.
personal place on that, Kev.
Where, because I date so much, where the best thing you can do is allow somebody else to talk about themselves. If there's something one person can do, it is talk about themselves. It is a topic they are familiar with. And if somebody else encourages it, I hope that it comes from a place of actually wanting to know the person. But even if it doesn't, it makes that person feel so much better. And when it's all said and done, they look back on the date and they say, wow, that was a really good date. And why was it a good date? Well, he was just so inquisitive about me.
He cared about me.
Exactly.
And so here's the important part. It can't be an interrogation.
No.
Just like dating.
Totally.
It needs to be a conversation. So here's what they figured out. The sweet spot number of questions.
Oh, there is an exact number.
There's an exact.
Love it.
11 to 14.
Wow.
you go past 14 and you start to lose the effect.
Got it.
Now goes in a bad direction. You go short of 11, you haven't gotten there. It's 11 to 14.
That's the sweet spot.
That's the sweet spot. So I know some people would say, well, I mean, I guess you could do that if you're trying to sell a car or a house, you know, a really big purchase, something like that.
Yeah.
But I maintain that you could do it in a dress shop, in a restaurant.
Totally.
I mean, and it maybe isn't the same person asking all the questions, but the hostess, for instance, right?
Yep.
And, you know, we all know the kind of hostess that would say, hey, how many today? You know, welcome. And it doesn't mean any of it.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Oh, if you are using canned questions or you are clearly using questions you have rehearsed, I promise you think it's good. Every single person can see through it.
See through that. So like a hostess, it would be like, let's say you had to wait a few minutes to actually get to the hostess,
Yeah.
right? So it would be like eye contact. Thank you so much for waiting.
Mm-hmm.
How many of there are you in your party?
Yep.
One question, right? Whose name can I put down? 2 questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it's like, do you have a preference where you would like to sit inside, outside?
Smoking section, please.
That kind of thing, right? And then, of course, we want the waiter to pick right up from that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In the getting to know you a little bit, right? I mean, of what's going on here. So I think even like in a dress shop, if I were to walk into a dress shop and, you know, somebody just said, oh my gosh, isn't it beautiful out there today? It doesn't have to be, you know, about the purchase. It doesn't have to be about the item. It can really be about the getting, you know, to know each other,
Sure.
if you will. And then if I said something like, you know, I'm going to a wedding in Acapulco. Oh my gosh, is it formal? Is it casual? Is it beachy? You know, is it resort wear? I mean, do you love black and white?
So let me ask you, what are these questions conveying to the prospect? What nonverbal communication in the form of verbal communication are these questions representing to them?
Good question.
Thank you.
So basically what they're saying is, I think there's a likability factor on there. So we all know that people are more likely to purchase if they like the person they're dealing with.
Got
and
it.
I don't mean like them like a best friend, but just they're likable.
Seems
right?
like a great guy.
Seems like a great guy, right? So people are more likely to purchase if they do that. People are also, there's also, it's called the principle of reciprocity, where if you do something nice for me, unless I'm a sociopath or a narcissist, I feel compelled to do something nice for you.
Oh, nice.
So if somebody seems genuinely interested in me in a way that seems different than the norm, and I'm experiencing that lays the groundwork for me to want to purchase from them.
Got
Does
it.
that make sense?
Totally.
So you are creating what I would call, a meaningful interaction.
Yeah.
Because it's not a true relationship necessarily.
As deep as a quick professional relationship can be in this exchange.
Right. Now, if it were a doctor, it may be a relationship. Even if it were a real estate agent, it may be a relationship, right? But it can be, we could call it a deep, meaningful interaction or a meaningful relationship, whichever it would be. But you're also laying down the foundation to make it easier for those people to purchase from you, because you've laid the groundwork to do it. They want to give back. All they can do, they can say, hey, you look really cute, or hey, thanks a lot. But really the only thing they can give back is to purchase from you. If you walk into a car dealer, that's all he wants you to do is buy a car.
Do they have like a certain amount of questions that should be direct to the individual? And then a certain amount of questions that should be, if I'm like really trying to sell a product, about the business? Or is it just, as long as you're asking poignant questions in totality, that's what counts?
So
Because I can't imagine like, hey, Bill, how's the wife and the kids? And how are they doing in school? And how's that new Volvo?
Right. So that might feel like an interrogation.
Right.
Right. So I do think that it would start with kind of about the person initially, right? But let's say you were going into some commercial cleaning place to get some like janitorial supplies, right? But then the questions would really go to, so tell me what kind of floors you're cleaning, right?
Yep.
How often do you guys clean them? Do you know what I mean? How often do you take it down to the, really scrubbing it? What is it like every day? What are you worried about that you're not getting?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like it can go to the business. I mean, for a car, for instance, if you just said something like, well, I use my car in business. I mean, the natural question is, what do you do? Like if you're a realtor, you probably want it to be a 4-door and you probably want the back seat to have some good room in it, right?
Yep.
So I think, those kind of things make a big difference. Or when I use it in business, there's only ever somebody in the passenger seat. That's it. So that's not a consideration.
Got it.
It doesn't matter. So I think it goes back and forth.
I imagine that probing questions would be important too, because I'm thinking of this. I thoroughly enjoy sales. I think of sales as an art, and whether anybody believes this or not, I fundamentally believe it's true. Everybody is in sales. Every single person is in sales, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And so it is not a one size fits all. You have to be willing to ebb and flow with the industry or the individual or the product. But I like to ask questions similar to this of, hey, so how did you hear about us? Or what is it that you think we can do for you? Because what it forces them to do is almost paint you in a positive light, right? So now they're saying things about you or your company or the service that you offer that speaks in a positive, shining example of, well, we need this and we've heard good things about you, so we're kicking the tires on this. So now they've just said, we've heard good things.
Right.
This is great.
Right.
We're here because other people have vouched for you, or we've read good reviews about you. And that's, to me, that's an appropriate question because you want to understand why they're there. But it also benefits you because you're getting an attaboy in it.
Oh, I agree. 100%. I also think it's, but I think when you talk about the dating thing, I think it's perfect. Like you can get away with some, what I want to say in our personal life, like I'm just going to say some, like, I don't mean difficult, like arguing difficult, but like some touchy situations.
Sure.
Like, can we agree that Dad totally overdid it yesterday?
In life?
In life.
Oh, yeah.
Like
he went golfing.
18 holes, had to drive 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back.
He is a shell of a human being today. He does not exist on the same plane of humanity that the rest of the world does. He is coursing through a different realm right now.
Yeah. He had been on prednisone.
Yep.
So we had the great Energizer Bunny for a couple of days.
Oh, it was. I said this to you the other day. I know now what it means to live with a crackhead. He could not, would not, totally unable to sit still. Like he would be sit still like a statue staring straight ahead of the television and out of nowhere would pop up, immediate beeline to the trash, open the trash can, take the trash bag out, walk it outside, throw it away, put a new trash liner in, and then go sit right back down, like military precision.
He said he was even laughing inside his own head. He couldn't stop.
At 8 o'clock at night, he started drilling holes in the wall.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. So he crashed yesterday morning off of the prednisone, and he still was insisting on going golfing. Now, on one hand, I'm really glad that—
What are we segueing into, by the way?
No, I'm going to tell you.
Thank you. I trust you.
I'm going to get there.
Okay.
On one hand, I'm glad that he set the goal to golf, and I'm glad that he went. Almost killed himself in the process.
Fair.
And so barely got him into bed last night, and I thought he is going to sleep all day, and he pretty much has.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So when I went in this morning and I realized like he is gone, he is out of it, I said, hey, so how you doing? So this is kind of the questioning thing, because I know the answer is going to be not good. And I think in sales, sometimes we know what the answers are, right? And he's like, I've got the worst headache and I feel really bad, And I said, oh. And I said, okay, can I get some Tylenol for you? And he goes, yeah, that would be good. And I said, what I wanted him to do was eat something and drink something, right?
Yep.
So just like a person in sales, I'm trying to maneuver this to where I want it to go. But, I sat on the edge of the bed and I said, look, you've got to put something in your stomach. I'll be happy to make a smoothie, but I need to know that you will drink it. Will you drink it? And he said, yep, make me a half, he said, And then I got him some sparkling water because that's what he wanted. Got him the Tylenol, brought it all to him. But I'm saying like those questions, rather than me just going in and going like, ugh.
Well, yeah, you're getting him to commit to this thing that he might ultimately not want,
Exactly.
but that will benefit him in the long term.
In this case, it will benefit him in the long term. And, he agrees because he knows my intention around it, right? Yeah. He feels my intention. Well, he knows my intention. He knows I'm his wife and I love him and I care about him.
Sure.
And even
a little different than a cold call.
Right. And even though I'll say it was ridiculous that he went golfing yesterday, but I applaud him at the same time. It's the same thing when you're trying to sell somebody something, right? Is that, you kind of ask questions, and some of the questions you're going to know the answer to, but you ask them anyways because it makes the person feel like they participated in the decision making.
Yeah, that checks out to me.
So we did get there eventually about the dad thing.
Yeah, this was a very interactive Deb's business segment.
Yeah, it was.
We kind of squirreled a little bit.
You interrupted me in the first 2 seconds.
I
about
really
panty
needed
liners.
clarity on why I couldn't touch on that particular topic. And if I would have sat with it the entire business segment, I wouldn't have engaged to the level that I did, because I would have said, what is so bad about what I now know to be something bad when I was thinking of Pantyhose?
It's not a bad thing. It's just not. Nobody would ever.
Yeah,
say
no. I mean,
that
like, I'm not shaming any women from their natural womanness. I just didn't know that that's what I was referencing.
You need to stop.
No, I'm sex positive. Hey, it's a natural thing. I praise all women. Women are the greatest. I just didn't know that I had stepped in a weird topic and I needed clarity on that before I moved on. You were the one that brought it up for a third time just now.
Okay, there you go.
Do you want to put a bow on this, or?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Ask probing questions in business, because it's only going to help you as well as your client better understand what it is you're trying to come to a resolution
11 to
on.
14.
11 to 14.
I mean, if I literally, if I owned the kind of business where it was like that,
Yep.
I would say, how can we get 11 to 14 questions to all of our people? What do they look like? Let's have lists of prompting, interesting, connecting questions.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's great. Yeah. I mean, especially if your business is sales, somebody should have a map of questions with arrows with yeses and nos. What are those charts called? Like flow charts? Right. You should have a flow chart with all of that kind of stuff on there.
Leads them to the decision making.
Then it comes to, is the salesperson natural? So it doesn't feel like they're...
Like an interrogation. Again, we don't want anyone feeling like that.
I think this is the best business segment we've ever done, while simultaneously being the weirdest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
We are now going to, I think this is the best segment of the show, besides Deb's business segment, which is Dear Debbie.
Dear Debbie.
We have 3 questions that were not asked to us, but we believe we will give better answers than the person who the question was actually asked of. Question number 1. Dear Debbie, I have a 36-year-old son who lives at home who doesn't know the difference between panty liners and pantyhose. Should I be worried? Sorry.
Yes.
Question number 1.
Yes.
Dear Debbie, I'm a career woman working for a family-owned business. Last year was difficult because there have been a number of layoffs and no raises. When I had my annual review, I received an outstanding evaluation, but was again told no raise would be forthcoming because business is slow. I could understand this because of the current economy if the owners of the company weren't taking expensive vacations and buying new luxury cars. Okay. I have a hard time accepting that there's no money for raises when they spend so extravagantly. I understand it's not my business. How they spend their money is not my concern, but it's difficult to swallow when I feel so taken advantage of. I'm not the only one here feeling that way, and it's beginning to create a hostile environment. Am I wrong for feeling this way?
Well, normally I wouldn't say that anybody is wrong for their feelings. Everybody has them, right or wrong. I would say it's more like, is it an accurate feeling? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you can certainly say you get to feel however you want to feel. I think her question is, should I do something about this or just swallow it?
I'm assuming it's not her family business. She's working for a business.
It just says a family business, and she has not assigned herself to it.
Right. She's not a part of it. So I think this is one of the things that people have to be really, really careful of. There are a lot of family businesses, and a lot of them are incredibly successful. And I do think that there's a nice fine line of revealing your personal life and your let's call it your vacation life and all of that to the employees.
Sure.
And I think it can be very dangerous if it goes too far, because people naturally have those kinds of thoughts, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing where you go, ugh, look at what they just did.
Right.
And what a waste. And that would have added the 3 more people that we need here.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Or incentivized the understaffed group that we have here.
Exactly. So I do think she's got to turn it around in her own mind, because she's going to become really resentful.
Oh, if not already.
Right. If it's a company that she really that she likes, right? And this is just kind of bugging her because she didn't get the raise last time, then, you got to play that out. There is no way that she can say, and by the way, you took vacation and look at the cars you're driving.
Sure.
That's a get out the door,
Yep.
right, kind of thing. But I think what she needs to be able to say is that, because of their success, they have a certain lifestyle, right? And, that her job is different than that. Her job has a salary range. And where is she in that salary range? And that's really where she needs to put her attention. So if her job has a salary range between $45,000 and $60,000 a year, if she's at 45, then she can make the case that I'm at the lower end of my salary range and it's time to get me up and get me moving. If she's at $60,000, she's not going to see a lot of money for a while because the job just doesn't warrant it. She's tipping out, if you will, at her salary range. I just think you don't do yourself any favors by dragging their personal stuff into it and having that be the bar. And I think if you go down that road too long, you'll kill yourself. At the same time, if I were talking to the owners, I would say you've got to be really careful. I'm going to just say parading your wealth in front of everybody that works for you.
Because ultimately, it's their business. It's their money.
Yep.
It's their expenses. You have literally no say over any of it.
Yep.
And because it is hard economic times, you're right. They shouldn't be parading it. But again, they get to do that. But your only recourse, if you don't like it, is to probably leave.
Right.
And if you're not feeling comfortable leaving, which you shouldn't given the current climate, you just got to suck it up.
And it can also happen in just a privately held business. I don't mean a family owned. It can also happen in, a publicly held business. That kind of thing where the people at the top, it seems like, they're being rewarded excessively. That can happen anywhere.
For sure.
But you will see a lot of business owners that, are great with their employees, but keep healthy boundaries. Like they don't have, Christmas parties are not at their house, right? Do you know what I mean? That keep a certain distance, if you will.
Totally.
So I think it's partly her and partly them, but that's a slippery slope. She's got to reframe that in her mind. And the reframing is the job, how much the salary is worth on that particular job, where she is in that range, and what she thinks she deserves for the level of excellence that she's bringing to the job.
Wonderful. Question number 2. Dear Debbie, I want to start a business selling body care products. I have already made some creams and lotions and tested them at street fairs in my neighborhood. I want to take it to the next level, and I understand that networking is essential. What are some ways that I can start meeting new people and getting my products out there?
Well, the first thing that I want to say about this, and I don't know if this is true for sure, but I think things like body products, a lot of them start out this way, but I think at some point they have to be tested. And I think
at scale, yeah.
And I think to make sure, that they're not harmful to the most of the general public. I don't know. Are the FDA involved in body products?
I'm going to say initially this is clearly a small business.
Right.
She's at farmers market selling this stuff. The FDA is not knocking on her door. I imagine if she starts doing a decent clip, the FDA is going to show up. As somebody who's never made a body product, I imagine if she's using all natural products, you probably have a better leeway growing your business.
Yeah. So we're just going to assume everything's safe and she's doing it the right way.
Yeah, let's omit the technicalities of putting a product on your body and say, how does she go from selling $10,000 annually to $100,000.
So I just think one of the quickest ways to do that, first of all, if anybody's on Instagram, I mean, you can't be on Instagram without them wanting to sell you 1,000 things, right? And it just looks like another Instagram post, And I think number one, being really dedicated to social media, meaning like maybe in the beginning posting every day, really, getting testimonials to talk about it, sending some free product out to people that have large populations, right, that will tout it. So influencers, if you will. And I think it kills small businesses to give product away, but I just think it's part of the thing. You've got to do it because all you need is to get somebody significant that has a great following to actually love your product, and it will skyrocket. That having been said, in the event that happens, you need to be able to ramp up and meet the need of that. So, I mean, I think the least expensive route to go would be to go to social media next.
And also,
what do you think?
I mean, of course, that's more bang for your buck. Yeah. And you can do a ton of stuff on all the platforms that cost you basically nothing.
Right.
But I would also say, if you want to, like, it feels like she kind of wants to be in brick and mortars. People love artisanal homemade soaps and lotions.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. I would imagine that over the last 10 years, that sector has like quadrupled because all that stuff is accessible now. So it's no different than, selling dictionaries door to door. You go up to these people, you have your line of products, you let them sample them, and you say, hey, let's do one quick round of this. Let's see how it responds. Let's clear out some shelf space with, these big brands, and let's offer these at a competitive price that you're not going to lose money on, that they'll make some money on. And if that's what you want to do, there's 1,000 companies that would love that. I mean, West Elm, whenever they go into a new city, they have an actual section of local products that can't be found anywhere else. And West Elm's huge.
Right, exactly. They do that local thing. So I do think that's part of the thing of getting it out there because the beginning can't be just about making money. I mean, let's remember Amazon. For how many years did they not make money, right? And now they're obviously making tons
I think a lot
of money, right? But, it's about putting it back into the business and growing it and, broadening the brand, if you will.
Totally.
And so I do think it's like having a good brand, having it be something that's memorable, and, differentiating yourself from everybody else out there that's doing it. How are you going to do that?
I would agree. And especially in a industry like this, like what is your difference? Like, why your product? What is it about your all-natural body soap that people should really resonate with? Is there a mission behind it? Are you giving 1 bar of soap away every time you sell 2 bars? Like what is the thing that people want to latch on to in 2021?
So it was interesting because a friend of mine in London called and said, hey, did you know this? That when people get older, and I think he's talking like 80s, do you mean like older? He said there is like a scent on them. Like as you age, you get this kind of scent on you, right?
Death?
No, just like, I'm just going to call it an old person.
Talcum powder?
No. And so one of the things he said is
prune juice.
There is a soap made with something like persimmon oil. It's the only thing that takes the old person's scent off.
What?
Yep. And I was like, this cannot be a thing. I mean, like, right, that is so niche. That is so weird.
Do you think I smell like that now after my weekend experience?
Maybe. But I started Googling like elderly person scent and everything. It's a thing. It's a thing for sure. So then I found...
Your body must emit some chemical as you just age.
As you age.
Death. It's the death scent.
No. But interestingly enough, there's this persimmon oil, and the way it's extracted in like Japan or something like that, you make the soap. Now that's very niche. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's older people.
Totally.
But it's like if you have, like if it's my mom, let's say, and and I go over to my mom's and I say to you say, Grandma, she's got such good hygiene and everything, but what is that? There's a smell on her. Do you know what I mean?
It's that OPS.
What is that?
Old people smell.
Yeah. So that's the differentiate.
Totally.
Right?
Oh my God,
So
1,000%.
I've used every soap. We've given her lotions. I mean, she's putting on cologne, but that scent still comes through. Now we found the thing that neutralizes.
Totally. I mean, like
that's the thing that needs to be sold.
That's not like a sexy demographic, but are you kidding me? If you can actually educate the marketplace on that, you'll sell a gajillion dollars of it. Yeah.
Who knew, right?
Not me.
Yeah.
Clearly. Okay, so in this segment, we like to do 2 professional questions, and now we're going to start to do just the third one to be a fun question. And this is absurd, this question.
And
okay?
it's a real question.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Dear Debbie, I'm not going to be able to get through this. My wife thinks it's funny when she hits me.
What?
The other day, I was splitting some wood and decided to take a break. I began driving golf balls into the field. So clearly they have
a
large
farm or something. Yeah.
She came out, grabbed the club out of my hands, and whacked me in the leg with it. When I asked her why she did it, she said, "Get back to work," and started laughing. I was left with a large welt and a big bruise on my leg.
What?
I don't think she hit him with the club head. I think she hit him with the grip, but still, that's metal. Another time, she bought some king crab legs for dinner. When I asked her if she was serving anything else with them, she picked up a crab leg and hit me in the forehead with it. She thought it was funny, and I ended up in the emergency room with 3 stitches.
Oh no, this is terrible.
Last night I was trying to... So sorry. Last night I was trying to add up bills on the computer. She walked in, grabbed the keyboard, and smacked me in the head with it. She said I should be able to do the bills on paper like a normal person. We have been together 9 years, married for 3. I love her with all my heart, but I'm getting tired of this joke. How can I approach her? I want her to know I feel afraid to offend her and make her angry. So, could you imagine hitting somebody in the head with a crab leg and they go to the emergency room?
Well, the crab leg has all those spiky little things on it. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so I know because of the way you read it, it sounded like a joke, right?
I don't know. I think it's real.
I mean, does she think... Is she doing it out of anger?
Listen, I don't know the origins of this stuff, but I imagine this is vetted, and I have to believe this happens. Dad used to have a friend who hit him all the time, and his buddy thought it was hilarious.
And remember when he hauled off and whomped him back?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that
clearly
was bad.
This guy isn't going to do that to his wife, but at the same time, she's assaulting him each time.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because when you started talking about that, I remember that friend. He used to slap Daddy upside the head.
He used to hit him on the back of the head. Like, this is just what we do. Like, I hit you and you take it. And that's clearly what this dynamic is, except she's hitting him with really hard things.
So I think that what he's not doing, because it doesn't sound like he's had a real conversation with her. And the crab claw would have been the perfect, because he went to the ER, for heaven's sake.
He went to the hospital for your joke.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's the other way that I look at it too. If a man did that to a woman, that would be considered
jail.
100%.
Yeah, it's assault with a deadly weapon.
Exactly. So it has to be the same.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So number 1, no hitting, which is like, don't we learn that in kindergarten?
You'd think so. I mean, like, listen, it's funny to say somebody hit me with a keyboard. Like, that's funny. Like, in my head, that's funny. But when there's a pattern of being hit with really dangerous objects, it's less funny unless you're reading it on a podcast.
Right. The other part of it is that I would say the twofold is she's genuinely causing him some pain.
Clearly.
It's dangerous. What she's doing, it's dangerous.
Both
right?
emotionally and physically.
And when he said that part, like, I'm afraid to tell my wife.
Yeah.
So this thing is happening where he's starting to behave a little bit like a battered woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, now I'm nervous.
Do you think she does it with weird stuff so that she can say it's a joke when really she's trying to actually inflict pain? Like, it's one thing if she grabs a baseball bat and hits him like repeatedly with just the baseball bat, but she's like, oh my gosh, I grabbed the golf club and I hit him and then I smacked him with a crab leg and then I took the keyboard. Like, it's just fun stuff.
Well, okay, first of all, this guy is out working outside all day. If he wants to grab a club and hit some golf balls out in the field, who cares? I mean,
she does.
Yeah, apparently she does. And then again, I mean, the question was like, are we having something else with the crab legs? That's super benign, right?
Yeah, a little side of skin on them.
Yeah, that is not a weird question.
No.
And then
butter?
Here's what I want to say to her is, girlfriend, let's get into the 21st century. He gets to pay the bills on the computer, right? I mean, like, he doesn't have to use paper and pencil.
Apparently that's not what normal
and
people
apparently
do.
lick the lead of the pencil and, right.
Which she would then stab him with if he did that.
Exactly. I think that, I think it was super funny. I think it's not.
But it's not funny.
But it's not funny.
It's assault.
It's not funny. And if we were reading it, if we only changed it from
gender roles, for sure.
It would be absolutely unacceptable. So no hitting, and especially no hitting with other objects.
I hear the keyboard hitting his head
I can see it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's too funny. I'm
like,
sorry.
There was some TV show I was watching, and they said to some guy, like, it was like some stupid cops kind of show. Did you hit her? Did you hit her? It was like that.
Yeah.
And the woman is like screaming, like, he punched me. And he goes, I used a open hand. Do you know what I mean? Like that makes a difference.
Sure.
Right? Like, no.
All I did was strike him with a king crab leg. Was it 4 feet long? Yeah, but it was food.
But was the claw still on it?
Yeah,
right?
and is there blood all over it now? Of course, but it was food.
And did it go in his eye? And
yeah, he's currently in the hospital.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. That's not, and I think it's somebody that does that. I just think that it is not funny. There are other frustrations.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
We clearly are having an issue with laughing on this podcast about things that aren't funny.
Yeah. But that's not funny.
It's kind of funny.
But I would have liked to have seen the crab leg thing, honestly.
If I'm going to go watch YouTube videos of people getting hit in the head with keyboards after this.
Okay, do it.
The sound with the keys just mashing
would be
too
great.
much. Okay. Yeah. That's Dear Debbie. Weirdest podcast we've ever done so far.
Weirdest.
Deborah, when you think back on the upcoming week or the previous week, what is something that stands out in your head that you would be thankful for?
Well, I am thankful that chemo got started and that Dad got through the first one just fine.
Yep.
I mean, it was his own fault. No offense, Gary. We love you. That he overdid yesterday. I mean, that's why we're in this situation today. He'll be fine tomorrow, I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But he actually got through that day. It was all day.
Yeah.
It was a long chemo. He got through it really well. And for him, he was excited to have it done.
Yeah.
And get it started.
It felt like things were happening. It felt like progress had started. And even though they're literally just pumping poison through your body, at least it felt like something was fighting for him.
And his stomach felt way better today.
Yep.
And he did listen to the Dadcast while he was getting chemo. So that made us both really happy.
Yeah. And thank you for everybody with all your sweet comments and messages about the Dadcast.
We got lots of nice notes about that. So it just felt like I'm really grateful that day turned out to be an actual very nice day for him.
Yeah. Absolutely. I could choose a couple. They would be redundant, but we did play D&D yesterday, and obviously that was great. But we always bring a smorgasbord of food to D&D, and I made the apple chicken sausage in the apricot chutney sauce that I don't know that you're famous for, but that's really, really good. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm always surprised that that is a complex dish with flavors. Mm-hmm. It is the easiest thing in the world to make. And I made it. And here's the thing. I probably shoved more of that into my mouth than anybody else did who was playing. And I've had it 100 times before.
Easily.
And it was still so good. And we have some left over. It's in the fridge.
I'm glad. Now you know how to make it.
Yeah, it's insane how not hard it is.
It's not hard.
Not even a little bit. You would think of a chutney, you guys made homemade chutney. Yeah, in an hour.
Yeah, it was really good.
And I'm not overselling this. It's really good.
It's really, really good.
So that's my thankful that I now know how to make something that I thoroughly enjoy that I can't make because I will just eat it all myself.
You used to, when you were little, say, there's 5 appetizers you make. Maybe not so little, but there's 5
15.
There's 5 appetizers you make. Can't you just make those and have appetizers tonight?
Here's the 3 I think of. Apple chicken sausage chutney, the corn dip.
Yeah, the corn dip is amazing.
The goat cheese puffs.
Yeah.
Those things are crack cocaine.
Yeah.
What are the other ones?
I don't know. What would the other ones have been?
I don't know that I can. Those are the three I think of. I don't know about the other two.
With the almond and caramel.
Oh, and the other one is, here's the other one.
Cranberries.
You would do it for Christmas. You would take cream cheese.
Yep.
And you would put the cocktail sauce on it, and then you'd put bay shrimp on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or
everybody's done that.
lumped
for
crab.
years. Yeah,
oh my God, but it's so good. And you're like, how does this go together? Do it. Put it on a cracker. It's amazing.
You can do the same thing of that with the cream cheese with pepper jelly too. It's super good.
Fantastic. Yeah. Speaking of food.
Yeah.
Deb, we're not cooking anything remotely football tailgate related. What are we cooking tonight?
How about some pad thai?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep, that's what we're having tonight.
You are on a so bored with the food that we eat kick that
so bored
that I'm super excited because at night while we watch Survivor, I can see you scrolling on your phone and I hear, hey, does this sound good? And it doesn't matter if I'm even paying attention or watching somebody get voted off. I will say yes, because that means we're not going to have the normal dish. We're going to have something different.
Yes, it's different. I mean, I am just, and it's not that I even want to go out to eat. It's not that. I've never cooked so much in my life.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I try to subsidize your cooking by doing stuff myself.
Yep.
And I'm not doing anything crazy by any stretch of the imagination, but I know it just gives you a reprieve.
Oh, I'm so happy when you cook dinner.
And I'm just like, well, I made tacos again.
Yeah,
you're like,
great.
Awesome. Perfect. This is wonderful.
Yeah. What was that shredded pork? That was
the
fabulous.
carnitas from Costco. Go buy that stuff. You can put it in and on anything. If you cook it the night before, add some onions and garlic to it the next night, put a runny egg on top of it. Oh my gosh.
Delicious.
Fantastic. Deb, you got anything else for us?
No, I think we went down a couple rabbit holes this episode, right?
Yes.
Yep. And I hope people hung in with us.
I apologize. I feel like I should apologize. Not for my behavior, but for my naivete about that we clearly all know that I'm referencing.
There are people that are going to chuckle over that.
Yeah. It was really innocent. I hope it was really innocent. I really didn't know what I was talking about.
There are going to be men that say things like, oh, better him than me.
Yeah. Hey, to all the guys out there, you're welcome. Happy I could fall on that sword for you. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast and follow us on all of our social channels. And you can watch this episode on our YouTube channel. Mom, I love you to death.
I love you, baby.
Guys, we will see you on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter @DebandKevPod.